Hi, so this is a video to show the execution of the Capstone project for Solutions Architect. So it takes a few minutes when you hit Start Lab to get this started, and I've just hit AWS to get to the management console. So the first step is to create a load balancer, which you can do by going to EC2. This is one way of getting there because I use it frequently. Now, other people might have to go to services and go look for it up here if you don't use it frequently. But it was in my shortcuts because I use it frequently. So from here, you go down, you scroll down to load balancers, which is under load balancing here, which you can expand load balancers. And you create a load balancer in answer to the question. Make sure it's the HTTP type. I'm going to name it as load balancer. You can name it whatever you want. It's got to be internet facing, IPv4 type, and the VPC you're supposed to use is the example VPC. After you check that, make sure you select US East 1A. Okay. And the subnets you select under here are public subnet 1. Okay. And you do the same thing here. And you select public subnet 2. Okay. And you don't need to do anything else on this page. Except to move on to configure security settings. It's not using any secure listener. I don't believe that's a problem. Then I'm supposed to create a new security group. Oh, hold on. Oh, I had an accident. My neck hurts. Yes, so I'm going to take you one step back. Again, I said ignore this warning and then select an existing security group. Actually, you're supposed to take this one, the first one that has a SG, the ALBSG1, port 80, and configure routing. Then you're supposed to create a new target group, which you can name, for example, lab target group. I don't know that the name you gave it is important, but I'm going to name it this. And then make sure that's the instance type. I mean, you can look at the advanced health check settings, but there's really nothing to change here. And then you register targets at the bottom of the page. Just make sure that this Bastion host is running, okay? Make sure it's running. That's kind of important before you finish the job. Yeah, so make sure the Bastion host is running and then review all the work you've done. There's nothing to change, and then create your application load balancer. This take a few moments. And so you've done your load balancer and you've also attached a target group to it. you can see the target group down here next to load balancers that you just created. I want us to take a look at it. Here it is. Yeah, so you can see here that you, like I said, you've created your target group. So the next step is to create an auto scaling group, which is like one step down on the sidebar under auto scaling. You hit auto scaling groups. Takes a moment to load, create an auto scaling group. You give it a name. Again, I'm not sure the name is like, they're gonna ding you if you give it a different name. I'll just call it Capstone Y ASG. Okay. And I'm gonna attach it to this example LT. All right. You can leave this add here. Oh, sorry, I think I skipped a step. So this is where we stopped, right? And then I just went to next after making this, choosing this template. I just hit next. You can leave this adhere to launch template checked and choose your VPC, example VPC, and then make sure you choose private subnets 1 and 2. Private subnet 2. Okay, so I got 2 babies. And then move to the next step. You have to attach to an existing load balancer. And then you choose, I think the one you just made is a lab target, so you choose that. And then you have to make some settings adjustments before you finish the job. You don't need to adjust any of these, but you do need to adjust the group size to 2. Again, you can type it or use the scroll bar. The minimum capacity to 2 and maximum to 2. You don't need any scaling policies, so this stays checked. And you move on to the next step. And the next step, then you add a tag. And I will just put name here and ELB perhaps. That's the value. And essentially, next step is just look over everything you've done. I think it looks right. If you're satisfied with it, go ahead and create your group. It takes a moment to get that done. So you wait for it to complete. And the next thing you do is go to the target groups to register targets. So this takes a moment. I'm just going to pause this video until it's done, okay? We'll continue after. All right, so as we finished our ASG, I'm going to go and register, or if you like, register targets by clicking on the target group we created just a few moments earlier. Now, again, I waited about, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that. I should have gone for a coffee, but Anyway, I waited a bit before I did this. If you do that, it gives the ELBs you created some time to completely initiate. Okay. If you don't, you'll find that. I mean, I guess I could take you through that. Let's see by going through EC2 dashboard instances. Right, you have to wait until these two ELBs here are running, and that takes a while. Okay, before you do what I was going to do. So I'm going to go from EC2 dashboard back to target groups and click on lab target group, and then check these register targets. Right. Okay. So on this second page, couldn't tell you why I have to do this a second time, but you select the two ELBs and include as pending below by clicking on that. Right. Aha, this says already included because I mean I'm pretty sure that we did that already. Yeah, so the first time when you hit that, it actually registered them. You know, in the older version, you had to take one more step, but all you needed to do was click it, check the two of them and say register target, and it'll get your message, which makes sense. So you've registered those two ELBs as targets, and the next thing is to go back to the load balancer you made earlier. Make sure it's selected. I'm going to need this DNS name. Okay. I'm going to put it in the browser. And if everything is all right, I should be able to see my example social research organization website. Everything is good except that if I want to do any real research, such as how many mobile phones what's this distribution of mobile phones across the globe, I won't get any answers. No matter what I try to search for, I won't get any answers because there is no database attached. So I have to deal with that problem. Whether I'm looking for childhood mortality rates globally, none of that is there just yet. Okay, so it keeps saying, it doesn't give you any answers, just a footnote from the website. So the next job is to go and get that sorted out so that at the end of this all, we'll be able to actually, see some information pop up when we do a search or a query. Okay, we're gonna from there on the website and back here, I'm going to go to the RDS. Again, you might have to search, but I've used this recently. If you haven't, you have to go to Relational Database Services. You can type RDS to get it, and then just click that. Okay, but I have it here. Okay, so I'm just going to click that. It'll take a second for it to pop up. And it's databases. I'm going to click on and then subnets. So databases, subnets, groups. Create a DB subnet group. Give it a name. I don't know that is important. I'll put Y capstone, Y for my name. Subnet group. I'm sorry. And then the description is database subnet. Okay. And of course, we're going to attach it to our example VPC. And we're going to pick the availability zones 1A East and 1B East. Yes, 1B East. We're going to check those, just as we did in the initial load balancer. And the subnets we're going to choose are the ones with 23 CIDR blocks. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and create. This also takes a moment. And we can now go to databases, create database. You see they've made some changes here. Anyway, we're looking for the MySQL type database from the instructions. It's the dev test one we're going to click. And I'm thinking, should I, well, you know what, let me call this example just so we can match it to what we've been doing. And then we'll put a password. I'm trying to see what password to use. All right, can we just invent one? But whatever it is, I have to like show you what it is. Okay, let's just invent one together. ZD 37 dollar CQ big Q 9 something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to remember that because there's no way I would be able to do that. So I'm gonna put that in here. All right, and then make sure that the type is burstable classes, and then T3 micro. Okay, oh well, that's the first thing that popped up. That's nice. T3 micro, and then move down to availability and durability. And I think we're going to have to tell it to create a standby instance. Under connectivity, we're going to ask it to connect to example VPC, I mean. And then you might have to expand additional configuration. And we're going to call this a example DB. And then we're going to uncheck enable enhanced monitoring. And that will be the last step before I create a database. Is to uncheck enable enhanced monitoring, which we just did, right? And then I can go ahead and create the database. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. I'm just gonna wait so that I don't go too far ahead. So I'm gonna pause the video for a little bit. So as you can see here, this database does take a bit of time to create. I'm sure I've been waiting for about 5 minutes now. And it's just about, after many refreshes, it's just about 3%. So I want to pause this so I don't bore you. When it's done, I'll continue the program, okay? Okay, this is now available. And, about 2 or 3 minutes after I said so, I actually started a timer. This is about 12 minutes after. So it must have taken at least somewhere between 12 and 20 minutes. That's quite a long time. So I recommend you grab some coffee if you want to wait for this to finish. The next step is to create the parameters, PHP. So I'm going to go to the question so I don't make typos, and just scroll down to the description of what it's asking us to do. And at some point in the solution requirements, it's going to give you these. So I'm just going to copy these parameters that we're going to use to connect the database to the PHP app. And I'm going to put that here so that I have them handy and I don't have to type them all the time. So back to here, we are going to go hunting for we're going to go to Systems Manager. All right, that one I don't think I've used that one frequently, so this is one of those I'm going to have to search for. Is it from here? Yeah, right there. Systems Manager. There you go. Open that. Yeah, sorry about that. Then you go to Parameter Store, which is under Application Manager here. Click on that. Then create parameter. And this is where we start using our fancy names that we copied. Okay, so the first one is example.endpoints. Paste that. Make sure there's no space. right? And the value description. I don't know that this is important description, but I will just put example DB here, like the one we have. Okay. I don't believe there's anything else to do here. Don't need to add any tags. Okay. Hold on a minute. So in this place where I've put example DB, I'm actually supposed to get the endpoint of the database we just created. So I'm gonna just go looking for it. I think that will be RDS. I think we have it already created, so I don't need to do anything but open it up and grab the endpoint, which is this. And copy and put that here. Okay, make sure that's all there is and create parameter. All right, and then do the same thing for the others. I started creating the second one, username, and that's going to be admin, just like it was when we were creating the application initially. And then, so I'm going to do it for all four of those. So password, now we're going to put our fancy password in here. Very simple. So we're not changing anything. It stays as standard. We're just putting in the values. Sort of like, I don't know, assets that the application will use, so that you don't have to put them in every time. And then the last one is, I believe, database. And that one is called example DB. Example DB, I believe. Let me check that. Example DB. Okay, so create parameter. And that's all four of them, I think we've got, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our DB should be I'm sorry, it should be available. I'm refreshing. Okay. And the next thing now is to go, I think, to our back here and essentially look for the details. Now we're going to use the PuTTY software to connect. So I'm going to download PPK. Let's see, I have something there before. I have to be careful. So it's lab user 2. And this goes into my downloads.